Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you for inviting me.
So, we are going to talk about all things marketing today. And,
Hmm.
and I am here to provide an introduction for you, and then I'll let you take it away.
Okay.
All right. So, as people are just signing on, I just want to do a little bit of housekeeping here. We've got the chat active at the very bottom of the screen. So if you scroll all the way to the bottom and add your questions there, we'll be answering them. Did you want to answer as we go along, or did you want to wait till the
Sure.
end for Q&A?
Happy to do that.
Okay,
Yep.
so we'll ask them as we go along. Karen will be monitoring the chat as well, and I'll be assisting with that. Everybody just kind of sit back and relax and get your notes ready. I think we are ready to roll as we're starting to get some folks signing on here. But it is my pleasure today to introduce Karen Frazier, APR, fellow PRSA. Worked with her for a number of years on many projects in the Tampa Bay area. She is the chief strategist and CEO for Advocate Marketing PR, where she uses strategic public relations, marketing, branding, communications, and government relations skills to solve business challenges. She understands the intricacies of both big business and nonprofits, and she has worked with organizations such as Metro Health System in Cleveland, Ohio, Grady Health System in Atlanta, Grace Point Mental Health Care Foundation, and Life Path Good Shepherd Hospice. So a lot of work with the healthcare industry. She's also managed marketing and PR for the Charleston Area Medical Center in Charleston, West Virginia. I lived there as a small child, so I love Charleston. And Affinity Health System in Menasha, Wisconsin. She is a fellow of the National Association of Public Hospitals and has been an active Rotarian in 4 states, including Florida. Karen believes in giving back to the community and has been active with Rotary, Community Stepping Stones, Healthy Together, the Crisis Center of Tampa Bay, United Way allocations, and the Girl Scouts of America, where she holds the rank of First Class Scout. And that's Eagle Scout for all you guys out there. Karen is an all-around communication expert and pro, and we're just pleased to have her talking about marketing today. And she's going to provide you all with some knowledge to do your own research, and depending on the results of your research, possibly asking Indy the right question. So Karen, welcome and take it away.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it, Paula. And I want to welcome everybody to the 4 elements of freelance marketing success and Freelance Business Week 2020. Congratulations for taking some time to spend time on yourself and your business. I know as an indie myself, it's really hard to do sometimes and really important to keep up your skills and also to refresh yourself and see what other people are doing. So welcome. Congratulations on being here. We're going to go over 4 elements and I'll go over them quickly, and then no worries. Don't worry about taking notes or anything because there will be a PowerPoint wrap up at the end. So the 4 elements are TikTok, ditch the dartboard, consistent course correction, and there's no such thing as normal. So TikTok, I have a long-term client by the name of Air Animal Pet Movers. And when I started working with them, they were experiencing some B2B changes. They mostly work with business to business, moving pets around the world and across the United States for relocating families. And they were seeing some of the changes in the B2B market, a little bit of decline. They were interested in increasing B2C, business to consumer. And the owner said, social probably will help, and we needed to be doing other things. And he needed to be doing other things, more importantly, so that the business would grow. We've been working together 5 years now, and the numbers are really, really good, even through COVID. And so one of the things that I challenge freelancers and other business owners is, what's the best use of your time? Is doing the marketing yourself the best use of your skills and your time and for your business? If not, you might consider hiring another indie, hiring a freelancer, and or someone like myself. I'm a fractional chief marketing officer. So I go into businesses that gross between 5 and 100 million and work with the business owners and the leadership as a fractional chief marketing officer. That's essentially what I do every day of the week. So to figure that out for yourself, here's some questions to consider. What's the best outcome? And then define what is and take emotion out of the equation. That's really hard. We all love our businesses. We have belief systems in place already, but sometimes it's really important to sit down and figure out what is and take out the emotion, particularly if you are in a highly competitive environment with a lot of other competitors. Sometimes it's helpful just to take a look at what is and say, well, maybe if I did this a different way, I would reach that best outcome for myself, my business, and my family. Try to take the fault, the blame, and the justifications out of it when you're doing this. Again, really hard, but an important step. Also, try to only choose strategies that feed your business plan. Strategies that don't feed your plan are going to frustrate you and cause you to feel like you're not really in control. So only choose those strategies that feed your business plan. And when I say that, I recommend using SMART goals. If you've never heard of them, I have a link that Paula is going to put in the chat so that you can see. It is a link to, I believe it's University of Colorado. And what they talk about is goals that are measurable, timely, reachable, and time limited. And so you want to take a look at how you're doing your goals and make sure that when you set up your goals for your business and you set up your marketing goals, they align that way. You also want to set your budget limits. I know that we've all heard as business owners that you need an out plan, you need an exit plan, an exit strategy. Setting your budget limits and your reasonable time limits is a way to do an exit strategy that is tied to the goal that you've set. How much are you going to spend with that marketing strategy for, say, pay-per-click? How long are you willing to wait for it to turn reasonable investment? That's the reason I say it's important for you to know the questions to ask. If you decide to go with an independent practitioner, or even if you decide to do this yourself, you need to know how long you're going to give it and what the benchmark is for that. You know, how long will it take for something like that to get traction? You know, I heard an interesting option on Hidden Brain the other day. I'm kind of an NPR podcast nerd. And I learned so much while I'm driving between client appointments. So I heard Gabrielle Odejan, a researcher, about how to make goals more attainable. Her research showed that when we dream something happens, we relax, but then we don't act. And according to Odejan's research, that means we don't achieve those dreams. So she set out to find a simple 4-step process that would help more people achieve their goals. It's called WHOOP. So I'm going to say, you know, whoop, whoop, or whoop it up. The first W is wish. What is the deepest wish you want to achieve today, this week, this month? And she says you can use this for personal, or you can use this for business outcome and goals. The next thing is the outcome. Back to what is the best outcome that you could imagine? The next thing is obstacle. And this is very different. It's not who else or what else stands in your way. It's what in me stands in the way. It ignores all the outside forces outside of my control. No excuses. So what in me stands in the way? I tend to procrastinate a little bit. I don't know about you guys, but that happens to me. And the P is plan. What is my plan to overcome the obstacle I created? And she said to use, if I feel this, fill in the blank, then I will do this, fill in the blank. So if I'm feeling like I need to, say, clean up the kitchen instead of do some goals for a client, then I will stop what I'm doing, get a glass of water or tea, and go in and set up my computer and get those goals done. There's a link to the podcast Paul is going to post for you. And that way you can listen to the whole presentation on Hidden Brain if you'd like to. There's also an app for that. Plug in WOOP in all capital letters into your app store and search.
Karen, I apologize for the interruption, but is there a document that I need to be looking at that has those links?
I sent you some things in private chat, so you can just cut and paste.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Okay, number 2, ditch the dartboard. A lot of times what business owners will do is they will take advantage of opportunities that are offered to them by sales folks as they come through the door, as they call you, that kind of thing. And you just throw everything at the wall. And I really don't advise that. We all have budgets that we've set in number 1, and we need to live with those budgets. So to decide the best targets and tactics, you need to take a look at what will get you to that best outcome you took a look at. Choose only what you control. And I'm going to outline tactics for every business, freelancers who are targeting consumers, and freelancers who are targeting businesses. And this is just based on my experience and what I often recommend to my clients as I work with them. So for every business, figure out, target your audience. Figure out what demographics in your existing client base, if you have an existing client base, what demographics stand out, and choose a lookalike audience. Where are they? What do they like? What do they do? What do they care about? How old are they? What income level are they? That will help you figure out where they are and who you're going after. Many businesses these days are choosing to use Facebook or Instagram or both of the social medias. I really recommend strongly that businesses also have a website, and here's why. If you're going to do any advertising for your business, being able to tie things back to your website and having an SSL certificate and Google Analytics are a must, because they help you measure. It also gets people into your business, and particularly if you are selling something online, even if it is white papers, consultations, free consultations as a just get through the door, get to know me, or if you're selling items, if you're a product producer, being able to get them through your website is really critical, because you can measure that, you can collect data, you can build your client base that way so that you can touch them again with email campaigns or with mail campaigns. So I strongly recommend you still use a website if you can create one and manage one on the back end. And there are all kinds of people out there that are independent practitioners who can help you with that work and do it, and it's affordable. The SSL certificate that I mentioned, if you don't already have a website, it's crucial these days, because I think it was about 2 years ago, Google and the other web crawlers announced that SSL certificates were going to be required in order to rank highly in their rankings. So in order for you to be found by a search provider, an SSL certificate is really critical. And many providers, GoDaddy, Bluehost, all of them out there offer a level of website hosting that includes the SSL certificate, and they take care of all that. You don't have to do anything with it. Also for every business, Google My Business. You do not have to use your home address anymore. If you're an independent practitioner like I am, I primarily work out of my home and I have a Google My Business account. You don't have to put your address out there anymore. And it allows you to be able to post to Google, and that also helps with your SEO, particularly if you're tying it back into your website and or Facebook or Instagram account. There's also a new tool called the Google Analytics URL Builder. If you are going to do any advertising online at all, again, it's very helpful because you use that URL to tie back to your website. That allows you to go into Google Analytics and see, oh, I've gotten 6 clicks this month from that online ad I ran in my local community newsletter, but they have an online site and your web shows up, your ad shows up there. And that's going to link right back to your Google Analytics and your website, and you can see how many clicks you get a month off that particular ad. Again, that helps you figure out, is the wheel starting to turn? Am I starting to get results from any paid marketing that I'm doing? Now, public relations. Let's talk a little bit about public relations. Depending on your business, there are great opportunities now to do some public relations earned media. There are bloggers out there. There are organizations that are doing local news, because the local news spaces in the local papers and things are starting to shrink a little bit because they're facing challenges. Right here in Florida, the Tampa Bay Times has been a real force. They have won many Pulitzer Prizes, and they have a foundation, but they're also urging people who read the newspaper to support the foundation so they can continue to do the groundbreaking investigative journalism that they do. So there are all kinds of things out there to take a look at for public relations. And your community newspapers are a great place to talk with them about your freelance business and what you're hoping to do and what you're hoping to achieve. They're looking for stories just like anybody else. You can also, depending on the industry you're in, if it's a larger industry, you can get third-party endorsements. You can link stories done about you and your business to your website. I really encourage that. Also, any blog posts, and you can link to your website and or to your blog. The same goes true if you watched yesterday's presentation on LinkedIn. He talked about content. And so this is a way to get content flowing between your LinkedIn and your blog and get people checking it out to see what you really offer and who you are. Okay, for businesses targeting consumers, I strongly recommend pay-per-click advertising, either in Google, Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest. All of those areas work well as long as you have defined your audience and you have narrowed it down to a lookalike audience so that you're not paying a lot of money for things that you don't need. You may, for example, only be offering services in your local area. Some of my clients offer services across the United States, so I will often use a Google pay-per-click business that is and has a high expertise in that, because We don't want to pay a lot of money for people clicking through and they're not truly a targeted potential client. So it pays to do your work up front, think through it, just write some things on a notepad or whatever, even if you're watching the kids or scoping out homework. You can do your homework at the same time. Just sit down and write some things up on a pad. Again, do your homework. For artists, handicraft artisans, Etsy's an avenue for you. If you don't know anything about credit cards, business websites, and promotion, and you don't want to be bothered, but on the other side, you give up a lot of fees for everything from ads to credit card and website, and you have to keep your costs in line with your Etsy competition. So you may not be able to make enough on your bottom line to make it worthwhile. It's something that if you are an artist, artisan, or a handicraft person, take a look at Etsy. But again, get out the yellow pad and the paper and do your homework and figure out what it's going to cost you to truly promote yourself through Etsy enough so that you will get an income that you need, an income stream that you need, and figure out how long you're going to stay. Okay. B2B, businesses targeting other businesses. You may already have a listing on one of these: Upwork, TopTool, LinkedIn, and LinkedIn Profinder and Freelancer. Today, in fact, LinkedIn Profinder had had a major push, nearly sneezed, had a major push today about LinkedIn Profinder. So if you're interested in that, today might be a good time to take a look. Sometimes when they put something out like that, they're offering a discount or a special. Pay-per-click advertising for B2B, Google, definitely, LinkedIn. And take a look at the e-news in trade newsletters and journals. That's where you use that Google URL builder to really great effect. Going back to my pet mover client, we have been using Google URL builder to follow how we're doing on various advertising that we're placing around the world in the freight forwarder magazines and in other media. And we're able to measure impact and figure out whether we want to do that again when renewal comes up. Again, do your homework. Keep a tally of the tactics and what works best for you and your business. Number 3, consistent. Notice I didn't say constant. Course correction. Stick to your limits. Stick to your timelines. Pick a time frame to decide when you're going to do your evaluation, monthly or quarterly, and don't skip them. Keeping up with your homework and keeping a tally of what strategies and tactics work best for you are really going to help you stay into your budget, help you meet your targets, and the data really helps you make better decisions about your business. It's not guesswork. You've got it all in front of you. Maybe it's not on a spreadsheet. Maybe it's handwritten, depending on how you best do your business. But it will really, really help you when you sit down next year to do your budget or figure out whether you're going to renew that strategy or tactic for the following year. You remember me saying earlier, kind of, it is what it is. Accept the lessons that, as you're doing your homework, accept the lessons, take them in. It is what it is. We all are going to miss, we're going to stop, we're going to start, and sometimes we're going to hit the target. If a target misses, you can change your approach and hit sometimes. If so, how long are you going to stick with it? If it continues to miss, Take a minute to understand why. And if you're working with a B2B partner, say if you're advertising in one of those magazines that is part of your trade, let your B2B partner know why it missed and that you're going to move on. They'll respect you for not ghosting them and may refer a client. Remember, it is what it is. And then stay in touch with your customers' tastes, needs, and wants. If your customers migrate to a new social platform and you can prove it to yourself by doing your homework, then change your plan. We have a question about what are your challenges in marketing your business by running your business while running your business. Oh, that's a huge challenge. I primarily do a lot of networking. I'm very involved in my professional society. I'm very involved in Rotary. In fact, a lot of my clients have come because someone has met me in a capacity in Rotary. I have been in district leadership in the public information, which is what Rotary calls the PR and marketing arm, and met many people that way. And it has brought me some really solid friendships and some solid clients. So that's what I do. I'm also involved in LinkedIn some, and then I have some great clients who recommend me to their friends and family and business partners. So that's what I do. But yeah, it's a real challenge, and keeping everything up and all the balls in the air can be tough. Number 4, there's never a normal day. You need to plan for disruption. And that kind of goes back into what are your challenges. Invest in sensible backups for your business. Don't shortchange yourself on for instance, having your website developer or whoever helped you develop your website actually do your website backups for you on a regular schedule. Make sure you have backups for your financial records. Make sure that you have a backup if you can for childcare or for these other things, because all of our lives, we're independent practitioners, and all of our lives are busy, and we have family, and we have work, and we have friends, and we have other obligations to the community. So it takes a village, and figuring out where your backups are and who's willing to help you and get your backup set up, that's something that I always try to spend some time on every year as I'm doing my plan. Now, we've all heard this term, innovate or die, right? Something I would like to share with you is kind of forget the fear about that. Trying and failing is better than not trying at all. Let me tell you a short story. Remember PageMaker? Well, many of you may not. So it was a game changer for printers. A lot of printers that had designers on their staff ended up having to let them go. It was great for people in my role, but it really changed the world. And again, in my world, PR used to mean media and employee relations on steroids. Now it is so much more. Social media and the interrelation between everything. And, again, from my history, what is marketing? Advertising, getting targeted qualified leads. Well, yeah, but not the way it was even 5 years ago. So we have to link our business S-curves, meaning a business goes up and then it kind of levels off. And then it's in that mature stage, right? So once it levels off, you need to innovate. You need to learn. You might need to change your business model. You might need to make other changes so that your S-curve can then take off and go right back up and on. So that's called interlinking SCurves. And we all have that. Every business has it. And part of being here today is making the time to learn, change, grow, and share. And so congratulations for being here. Paula talked about the fact that I'm a Rotarian, and I'm going to share something that I use every day in my business and personal dealings. It's called the Rotary FourWay test. It's really simple. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? And will it be beneficial to all concerned? And we've added a fifth one lately. Is it fun? So the 4 elements of freelance marketing success and a FourWay test you can use to guide your business dealings. I hope that you find all of that healthy and helpful. And that's a 4x4 success structure for you. I'm going to go ahead and go quickly over. Let's see here. Go quickly over what we've been over. I promised you a quick PowerPoint, and we're going to do that. Okay. So the first thing is TikTok. What's the best use of your time? What's the best outcome?
Can we do the screen share?
I thought maybe not.
Yeah, just one second and see if we can get it to pop up, and I'll send it on for you. There we go. Stand by.
Got it?
Yep, there we go.
Okay.
Perfect.
All right. So what's the best use of your time? What's the best outcome? And try to take your emotions out of it. No fault, blame, or justifications, and only choose those strategies that feed your business plan. Ditch the dartboard. Choose only targets and tactics you control. Know who your audience is, where your customers are, what they like, and be able to develop a lookalike audience, particularly if you are going to use Facebook advertising, Google advertising, Instagram. They all allow lookalike audiences, and that will really help you set up and target what you're doing, what you're saying, and your spend. Do you target B2B or B2C? And I've just run the gamut there for you, everything I went over, okay? Consistent course correction. Stick to your limits, pick your time frames, and don't skip on your homework. And for me, it's really important that I accept the lessons. Sometimes it's really hard for me to sit down and say, you know, that didn't work. And then I think, okay, I need to take my emotion out of it and figure out why it didn't work. And if I'm going to tweak it and try it again, or if I'm just going to let it go because it just wasn't working for me or the business. And plan for disruption. You know, invest in basic backups and understand that we all need to innovate, grow, learn, and change our businesses, because our businesses mature as we do. And sometimes we need to make a change so that the business will grow and prosper. I'd love to entertain your questions if there are any questions out there. Okay, so much information. I feel like we've been through a college course. Thank you, Diane. You know, I do. I help Paula. She leads our accreditation and public relations team now, and So I help her, and every year when I teach, I tell people, okay, this is really your master's degree in public relations. Every year we go through this, and people will look at you when you're first talking with them about that and going, I'm not so sure about that. But by the time they're through the course, they really do believe it. Thanks so much. Okay, Bart asked about thoughts and handy hints on word of mouth. Okay. Depending on your business, particularly if you're a local business, word of mouth can be very important. It is important for my business. I depend on my clients to make referrals for me, and I regularly ask them for that referral, particularly, when you're talking to a client and they say, you did such a great job on that. And I say, thank you so much. Do you have any business associates that you think could use that type of work, that type of skill? So that's a really, I picked that up from Sandler Training. Hi to my friends over there at Sandler. And that's something I've put to use and good use for the many months. So try that for yourself. Just when somebody's giving you praise, ask them if they have another business associate who could use that skill. Okay. Paula, do you have any questions? Anything that occurs to you?
We had one other question that we have a couple other that appeared, but there was one below about what is your opinion on developing a niche practice? Finding it hard to focus on one industry.
Okay. It depends on your business. And if you are, I'll just say, one of our good friends is focusing on nonprofit in the marketing and public relations world. There are a lot of nonprofits out there that really can't afford somebody with senior level expertise, and they might think, well, that's a 6-figure salary. So if you can find a niche that isn't being serviced, and you have relationships in that niche, but also with our friend, they are making the time to get to know people in that niche by going to the trade associations and sponsoring events for them, helping to do training for them that they may find helpful for free or for a small fee. So that can really help you reach into that niche.
Excellent. Then another question was kind of related to when you started your presentation. Since a lot of us know a little bit of everything about how to build a website or how to do our own graphics, and the question was, how do I know when it's time to hire someone as opposed to a do-it-yourself type of situation? What's the tipping point for that?
Oh, I'm in that position myself right now. I really would love to say that I can write content for all my clients and do it for myself and get it on my website and do a blog. But, I'm arguing with myself right now about whether I should interview and hire somebody to help with my content on my own website, because I'm busy with clients, which it brings in the money, and that's what we need to do, right? So I think you just need to figure out, number one, where do you need to spend your time? For me, I need to spend my time working with the clients because I'm their chief marketing officer and they expect to see me. They don't necessarily expect me to do all the work myself, but they do expect to see me in that counselor, chief marketing officer role. So that's where I need to spend my time. And so I'm in the process of finding a colleague who can help me write for content.
And I imagine in our network here that we're developing under Freelance Business Week, we've got a lot of resources that we can lean on each other and rely on each other.
Yeah, we do. And there are a lot of resources also. I mentioned I'm in the Public Relations Society of America. The Tampa Bay chapter has an independent practitioners group. And so that's a place where you could start to find somebody to help you with your public relations, certainly, and in some cases with your integrated PR and marketing.
Excellent. And then one other question that had come in, any tips or advice on how to keep up with all of the different platform changes when it comes to advertising, Facebook advertising? Is it best to just hire a pro to help do that, or is it something that we as independents and freelancers can do on our own? And how and where, what resources do you use to kind of keep up with the latest in technology?
I think Facebook right now is doing a good job, particularly in their advertising backend, of helping you figure out how you want to place your advertising. They have critiques and things like that. And even when you build an ad, they will help you make it better. I don't necessarily recommend boosting posts because I haven't found that beneficial for my clients. I found it more beneficial to actually do an ad that will get people clicking on the button that will help them make a sale or get somebody into the top of the sales funnel.
Excellent. And I believe that Emily provided a great resource here as well, the Mighty Freelance Network.
Yes.
You can actually post positions and needs for
and that's what I understand LinkedIn's Profinder is also going to be. You can as a freelancer, you can put yourself in there, and then businesses who are looking for that resource can search there.
And is that a paid option?
It may be. I haven't done a lot of research into it. I just saw it come across. I knew about it, but I just saw it come across my LinkedIn this morning when I signed on.
Anyone out there listening using those LinkedIn options? If you want to provide a little comment in the chat about the success you're having with that would be wonderful. Another question that I had regarding finding support. Obviously, when I have overflow work, I'll hire or partner with somebody on a 1099 basis, and I think that's kind of where a lot of us are at as freelancers. That keeps us as freelancers in our title, independent workers. Sometimes budget is an issue with a client, and I always struggle with balancing wanting to keep work within my local network of people, and then balance with the fact that clients know about services like Upwork and Fiverr and things like that. I don't want to talk down about those services because I'm sure that a lot of our freelancers, or many of our freelancers, may advertise their services on networks like that. But how do you approach a client, or how do you struggle with kind of balancing that, obtaining services for maybe a much lower rate via one of those platforms versus working within your network for partnering on projects?
I have to say that my clients have been, I guess the word is loyal. When I recommend somebody, I will often recommend one or two people, and then insist that they meet that person and agree to work with them. Paula, my business plan is a little different from some others. Even though I run an independent agency, I don't bill for other people's work. They bill directly, and I negotiate their rate on behalf of my client so that I don't do any markup or anything. And that has really built me loyalty among my clients so that they know that when I recommend somebody, the rate that I tell them they're going to get is the rate that they're going to get.
Mm-hmm. And I know you've dedicated a significant portion of your precious time to organizations like Rotary and PRSA.
Mm-hmm.
As an independent practitioner, a solo, a freelancer, our time is our most valuable commodity. How do you balance all of that?
Well, for Rotary in particular, giving back to my community has been really important to me all my life, thus the Girl Scouts and those other kinds of things. But for Rotary, what I put into Rotary comes back to me in the form of clients and business relationships. For example, a few years ago, the district governor asked me if I would work with him because they were getting ready to do a big project that they were trying to do to get a Guinness World Record called the world's largest traveling children's book. And I was very fortunate to work on that project. And we gave away, I think the final number was 10,000 books to children who came to the fairgrounds that day and went home with a backpack full of books. We had created the world's largest traveling children's book from an author who is out in Lakeland, Fred Kaler, and it was a fabulous, huge, it stood like 10 feet tall with leaves that opened, and we got good media and everything. And out of that, I got a client. So, for me, it's feeding my heart, feeding my soul, and it also brings business through the door.
Yeah. And I always say to people, get involved in those organizations that make you feel that way. Mm-hmm. Because the minute it starts to feel like a burden to have to go to a meeting or participate in an event, that's when I know in my heart that I'm not in the right place.
Not in the right place. Yep. Same thing. It's back to what I said earlier, looking at what is and taking the emotion out of it. Yeah. Diane said, Profinder is not worth the time it takes to sign up for it, she says. She's been on it since it started, and the leads she gets are not as good as she would like them to do. And Emily said she's not had success on that platform either. So even though it's a newish platform, it's not getting really good reviews here today.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. See that. So as we wrap up, any other questions from our audience? I know there was a lot of information that flowed through here today, and Karen is always very methodical and very precise in her instruction. As she mentioned, she helps teach one of the accreditation courses, and that's always one of the weeks that we always look forward to with trepidation, because we know it's going to be a challenging evening of just learning so much information. So,
well, it's only because I teach communication models and theories.
Tough stuff.
Yeah. Everybody's going, oh, McLuhan, really?
We're seeing a lot of it in action these days.
We are. Yeah.
Well, Karen, I appreciate your time so much today. As we close out here, if anybody has any questions, pop them up there in the chats. But definitely, can you show us your screen that has your contact information on it one more time?
Sure.
So that we can bring that up full screen?
And if you want a copy of the PowerPoint, just email me. Well, yeah, but it's not coming up. So hang on. There we go.
I'm still not seeing it pop up in the share. There we go.
Yeah, I had to do a few more clicks to get it there.
There we go. Okay, we'll go ahead and go full screen and go ahead and take it to your contact information there.
Okay.
Excellent. And Karen is located in the Tampa Bay area, so she's one of our Tampa Bay folks. She's been really helpful in mentoring many of our practitioners along the way. So much appreciation to Karen for all that she does for our community. And certainly if you all have any questions offline, reach out to her at any time, and she would be glad to help.
Love to help you. I'm not sure when they're going to do the drawing, Paula, but if people are registered, they may have an opportunity. I am offering 2 whiteboard sessions for
Perfect.
people for their business.
Yes, excellent. And the Hey Summit platform will draw those winners, and we'll connect you to via email. So you'll be able to reach out to the winner of those sessions to be able to get that scheduled.
Great. Thank you.
All right. Well, thanks. Yeah, thanks to everyone for attending, and please stay tuned for more great sessions today on Freelance Business Week. Thanks a lot.
Bye.
Bye.